Hello and welcome to the Dig in Denver podcast, a podcast for the people, by the people. I am your host, Derek Bettis, for the evening. You can find me on Twitter at DigInDerek. Make sure to go follow the squad's handle at DigInDenver. Go on over to Instagram, follow us there for some great content, and always make sure to find your way over to www.digindenver.com for all the articles that we do publish. Big shout out to the sponsor of the show tonight. This show's sponsor is Red Wing Shoes in Greeley, Colorado, family owned and operated with 7 locations throughout Colorado to serve all your footwear needs, both safety toe, soft toe, and casual all alike women's selection as well. Make sure to go stop on to your Red Wing Shoes in Greeley, Colorado, where customer service and high quality footwear comes first. Big shout out to the Red Wing Shoes in Greeley. Thank you very much for your support. We do appreciate it. Tonight's show is going to be about the Denver Nuggets win 121-104 over the Charlotte Hornets for the 3rd straight win in a row. And there's a few different storylines we're going to get into first before we break down the game. The Denver Nuggets continue their offensive hot streak. Their quote-unquote free-flowing offense, Michael Malone has quoted a few weeks back, and since then has committed to calling less plays and letting this offense continue to do its thing and to play with its own type of mind without being caged and pulled back. Malone referenced this, that he understood that he was maybe slowing up the offense a little bit and over controlling this team. And what a decision by Michael Malone after getting a lot of heat for a lot of different things. He really decided to take a look inwards and see exactly what he could be doing better. Letting this team play and making sure that Nikola Jokic is involved in the offense is the number one thing for this team. And tonight was no different. 7 different Nuggets players in double figures, just an even round of distribution for scoring tonight. It was an absolute plethora of flurries from all around the Nuggets squad, which is what this team's identity should and could be. Will Barton had 18 points. Garry Harris had 27 points. Jokic with 15. Jamal added in 18 points. Darrell Arthur, the old man, tying his season high of 10 points. Trey Lyles mixing up with 11 points. And Emmanuel Mudiay coming in with a smooth 12 points to really help this team propel them into the next win. Emmanuel Mudiay has actually been playing well for the last few games. It's been nice to see him contributing in a solid way. Emmanuel's always going to have his passes and his plays where he has his turnovers and silly moves. A double clutch still is not going away. Frustrating to see that, but he has continued to show useful and give useful minutes to this Nuggets crew over the last 3 wins especially, and it's been nice to see him come out and contribute in a meaningful way. The three-headed beast, hashtag the core, as Hastings would like to have it. Of course, Garry Harris, Nikola Jokic, and Jamal Murray. Garry Harris ended the game with 27 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound, shooting 9 of 13 from the field. Even had a steal in there. 5 for 7 from the 3. Came out lights out right out the get-go. 4 for 5 from the free throw line. Ended with a positive 17. Nikola Jokic ending with 15 points and 16 rebounds. Oh, and by the way, a 7 assist as well. Just an absolute monster night from Jokic, just shy of a triple-double, adding another tally mark on a double-double for the season. And then, of course, you have the Swiss Army knife in Jamal Murray, good for 18 points. This crew, 27, 15, 18 points combined for 60 of the Nuggets, 121 points, 21 rebounds, 16 assists, 5 steals, and shot 21 for 34 for an overall shooting percentage of 61%. This hashtag core, if you let Hastings tell it, just is a monster lineup. They continue to improve, show out, and make sure that they're adding contributing minutes, even when they have rough patches or a couple of boneheaded plays. This team and this crew really is starting to make their way into being a very elite, quote-unquote, big 3. Hastings said it great tonight at the end of the game. I don't know if they're going to be recognized this year or when it's going to be, but this team, if they continue, this group of players, this 3 players, Jamal Murray, Garry Harris, and Nikola Jokic, if they continue to show out like this night after night, be consistent for the rest of the season, there's no way how national people cannot start to realize the potential of this team. These players are nasty. The way that they're able to contribute into this team is amazing. And my personal favorite part of this entire thing is this is all homegrown talent. These players aren't people that have come and made a name for themselves with another team purchased by the Nuggets just to contribute to here. They were drafted here, they were grown here, and they've grown up in this Nuggets culture that is contributing to what this team could be. So just beautiful to see #the core continue to contribute to this team in a very meaningful way. Nuggets came out shooting lights out from the three-point shot, tying their season high with 18 made threes on a total of 34 attempts. Good for 52% from the three. Everybody was hitting. Will Barton chipped in. Jamal Murray had his share. Garry Harris shot lights out in the beginning. Nikola Jokic hit a couple. Trey Lyles, Darrell Arthur. Everyone in there was chipping in tonight, making sure to keep the Hornets at bay. Hornets made it to 104 points, but when you're scoring 121 and over, it's going to be hard to compete with that all day, every day. And of course, the Nuggets come away with their third straight win, moving to 22-7 from home, one of the best records for home games in the NBA, and moving to the sixth spot of the Western Conference. Remember just a few weeks ago during those two rough games where this whole team was down, and a couple games before that where people were starting to doubt this team again. Sixth in the West. People, I'm telling you, don't ride the waves. Love this team. Enjoy this process. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Imagine in those two games when we were slighted to lose heavily, mind you, to the Golden State Warriors, to the Boston Celtics, and the San Antonio Spurs, where we came down, made it a game. Especially that San Antonio game was much better just because you didn't have the controversy of the Will Barton Coach Malone call at the end. But just imagine, had we won those two games, what this team would be looking like right now. You can feel the energy and the excitement starting to build around the Nuggets. As I'm talking to people around town and bringing up the Nuggets casually, there's a certain following and a certain buzz and energy that I didn't used to get reaction from people before. Previously, before these last few games, the Denver Nuggets, when I'd bring them up in the team and about the game tonight, it was a very mediocre, half-hearted response, almost a kind of, oh yeah, the Denver Nuggets, oh okay, yeah. And now people are being excited. They're showing excitement. Oh, this team's playing good, man. Though they add in their little chips here and there. It's cute. I get a lot of questions about Kenneth Faried not being in the lineup still. And that's the casual Nuggets fan, and that's totally fine. No problem at all. But the fact that people are paying attention is what's exciting to me. But imagine, had we won those two games against the teams that we were slated to lose against, we would be in the fifth spot, ahead of Oklahoma City by one whole game, in the fifth spot of the Western Conference. The fourth seed is not that far away with just 5 wins out. And you never know how this is going to pan out. We have a nice schedule for this month again with a lot of home games. Tough opponents, but home games, so that's great. The Denver crowd seems to continue to grow and grow and grow. One of the best and fastest growing attendance switchovers from the year before. So with this energy and this buzz and this excitement starting to build around the team, there seems to be like the Denver Nuggets is going to have a great home team to be rooting for them at home. Just an amazing game. We're going to break right into it, and we'll go over some of the things and notes that we saw throughout the game. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's dig in. All right. Shout out to the good people of Philadelphia. Congratulations on the Super Bowl win. Not that I'm a giant football fan anyways, but it was a great game. Fantastic game to the Super Bowl. A little reference to Kevin Hart. If you did not see Kevin Hart trying to get up on the stage after the Super Bowl with his squad, which is hilarious, definitely go check out Instagram and go look at his video after a long night of celebration. Absolutely hilarious. Dude is funny. Made a little mistake trying to get up there, made a spectacle of himself, but recovered nicely, making a nice little funny video to post on there. Kevin Hart just absolutely hilarious. But anyways, getting on right back to the game. Starting off in the first, Barton just came out on fire after an excellent performance against the Golden State Warriors with the team high of 25 points. Comes out hot, making 3 of 3 in this one right here, and really just added this game in a nice way. Many of us at Dig in Denver have a view of Barton less favorable. Some of the other media personnel out there, some of the other guys really believe in Barton, really believe in his style and his play and his skill set and what it means to this team. And some people, including myself from Digging Denver, really see Barton as a much more somebody who maybe forces up too many shots, too infatuated with the ISO possession type of play, but it can definitely score in bunches and really helps his team out in a way, and has a skill set that nobody really else on this team besides maybe Jamal Murray really has, and that's the ability to go get a bucket in a multitude of ways, in a plethora of different attack modes, whether it be step back shooting, 3-point shots, finishing at the hole. Definitely, in my opinion, one of the better finishers at the rim, Will Barton. However, in that game against Golden State, Will Barton played absolutely fantastic. I was wondering how he was going to come out and respond, and I thought he did an excellent job of playing within the offense. He stayed aggressive, but didn't force shots. And shots where he would have, or we would have normally seen Will Barton go and force a shot, take an ill-advised shot, he really decided to pass the ball, still play within himself, and had, in my mind, in that Golden State game, one of the most important games of his career. And the reason why I say that is, like I said, because of the unselfish manner in which he did it. He played with inside the offense, which he's shown before in the past, by the way. This isn't the first time. He shows these flashes where he could really play inside this offense. And if he could do that more as opposed to the ISO scoring and really just understand the times and moments where he needs to attack, really, in my eyes, could really set him apart and solidify him in this team and in this offense for the future to come. However, on nights like tonight, a lot of it was forced. There's a lot of ISO ball from Barton going on here. Some really ill-advised shots. He was still passing the ball. He's still moving and moving in ways that I thought were more consistent with that Golden State game where he was looking outside of himself. But definitely a very heavy ISO ball here for Will Barton. But he did come out hot, made 3 for 3 right from the get-go. And I thought that was really good from Will Barton. Really good to make a rebound after all the haters started coming after him. Like I said, And here's the hard part is Will Barton was one of my favorite players coming in from the Portland acquisition. And not to say that I called out Will Barton, that I had been following him for years, all the way from Memphis. I had never heard of him until he was coming into this team. However, when I started to watch film and highlights on this young man, I really started to see that scoring ability and the ability to finish, his potential as coming from a nobody. I had a conversation with 2 of my good buddies that I often talk about the Nuggets with, and that was that I saw him being a better version of Corey Brewer. Just talking about how Will Barton's game and even stature and body build and the kind of flailiness when finishing towards the rim, they look and their game just looks so similar. And so, but I had called it. I had said that he was going to be a better offensive version and a better player than Corey Brewer. I still believe that true to today. Corey Brewer may have a little bit of defensive upside on him, but as far as a player, if you're telling me pick somebody one-on-one who's going to win 9 times out of 10, I'm going with Will Barton. So it's hard for me to sit back and be critical because I was definitely very defensive of Will Barton in the beginning when he started to come, when people was like, nah, he's not going to be anything. He's not going to amount to a whole heck of a lot. And for that fact, I took a lot of pride that I really saw this young man's ability to score and his ability to finish towards the rim. However, his infatuation with the ISO possessions every once in a while just drives me absolutely nuts. And I feel like even though that has a place within this team and he means a whole heck of a lot and he still has contributing useful minutes, even when he's being in that, it still just drives me crazy because a lot of this team's identity is the exact opposite of that. There's not a lot of ISO ball outside of maybe a Wilson Chandler, who that's maybe his main possession. Goes inside, does his spin move, and finishes strong sometimes. Likes when he has his mismatches he thinks is favorable more towards his side. But outside of Wilson Chandler, there's not a lot of players who really go ISO ball. Jamal Murray, maybe you could throw in that class as well, but he does it in a much more tactful way than I believe Will Barton or Wilson Chandler do. And so to see Will Barton, like I said, sometimes in these games where he gets a little ISO heavy, forces a little bit too much, I'd really like to see him play within the team and within what the defense allows him to get. That's when he can be super lethal for this team. And you see that happen with games like Golden State. So anyways, Will Barton comes off hot, plays pretty solid throughout this entire game. For the game, he ended with those 18 points, 8 assists, and 2 rebounds tonight. Shot 70% from the field, 66% from the three-point, and ended with a positive 17. So this man, no doubt, is incredibly valuable to this team. Had a great showing here, especially early in that first half. The defense was pretty rough tonight all around in general. In the first half, the Nuggets were able to jump out on the Hornets, but then let them come all the way back, roaring back to getting within one, and with 15-14. But for the first time I was called, and it wasn't necessarily Hornets just exploiting the Nuggets all around. It was really just lazy defense and not being able to step up and really just allowing that stigma of not having a great defense continue to roll here. Just something that the Nuggets continue to work on, something that the coach even talked about coming after halftime was really just focusing on the defense. Howard exploited the mismatch down low, pummeled Jokic, 12 points in the first half, and just continued to go right back at him again and again and again and again. You've heard on this podcast, if you've listened before me, talk about how sometimes Jokic can struggle with the stronger centers of this league, and that was definitely true in tonight's game. Dwight Howard very tactfully decided to go straight at Jokic and got his in the paint. Jokic was very ineffective on the defensive end, as was the entire defense of the Denver Nuggets. Was still able to turn around Jokic and contribute in a big, meaningful way. Sparty caught fire, absolute fire in the first half. 5 for 6 from the field for 15 points in the first half, largely from spot-up threes. The Nuggets offense was just absolutely fire, free-flowing and making a ton of extra passes. By making those extra passes, they were able to find a lot of their teammates wide open for high percentage shots, and they were able to knock them down early. The entire team was on fire. In fact, the Nuggets shot good from everywhere, especially the entire game, but especially in the first. This was the 10th straight game with 9 or more three-pointers from this Denver Nuggets squad. Really able to get that three-point shot going for them, opens up the field from a whole different plethora of ways. The Nuggets are an excellent team at taking advantage of open passing lanes and cuts. When the defense has to respect the three-point shot because it's working, or the shot in general, it really opens up and allows this team who's able and extremely talented at finding these reads and lapses in defense to really take advantage of that. And so it's something that's been happening for the last few games. Like I said, 10th straight game with 9 or more threes. Phenomenal shooting for the Nuggets early on in the first, largely assisted by that extra passing. Tons of motion. And, sometimes this Nuggets team can play with a lot of bodily motion. So guys are flying, they're moving, they're screening, they're rolling away from the basketball, towards the basketball, pick and rolls. In tonight's game, they were definitely still doing that. That has a large part to do with it, but the ball was moving. That ball was hopping from person to person to person. It was really moving extremely well. Very unselfish play, which is the identity of this team. So to see them take advantage of that was excellent here in the first. And it allowed them to take advantage of the lapses that happened. After so many passes, that defense starts to fall half step. Okay, now we're full step. Now we're step and a half. And that happens when you make 4 or 5 passes within a possession. There's even times where they're making up to 6 passes within a possession. That's going to break down that defense. And with such a smart team like you have with this Denver Nuggets squad, they're going to exploit that and they're going to hop out big. They're going to get their offensive rolling. So it's really nice to see that happen. And it was interesting the way they did it. The Nuggets played a lot of one-on-one offense in the first possession, as opposed to typically what you can see the Nuggets be successful at, which is giving the ball to Jokic on the first or second pass. There's a lot of driving and penetration, which is nice to see because when they get that penetration, the defense collapses, and the Denver Nuggets, once again, using their intelligence, are able to hit the open spots. And when you have so many people who can spread out the court like this Denver Nuggets squad can, they really take advantage of that. And so a lot of one-on-one drive and penetration, taking advantage of that. I thought that was great. And, I almost ask and wonder if this team has morphed into another way of playing in that free-flowing offense, that quote-unquote free-flowing offense, right? You see in certain games where almost always, and I had made the point that this team is the most effective when they go to Nikola Jokic 7 or 8 out of 10 possessions when they go to him immediately. The entire defense tightens up. The intensity of that defensive team tends to lock up because they understand that Jokic is such a threat. As soon as he has the ball in his hands, he can pass, dribble, shoot. He can cause his defender to get early fouls. So it does a lot for this offense, and I still believe that's true. But in the last couple games, we've almost seen that go away from Jokic. Although he's heavily involved in the offense, it's not exclusively going to Jokic. It's going with that drive, that penetration, kick out, move to Jokic, and a dribble handoff. They're using him within the offense, and I feel like this offense has actually morphed and taken one step up into another wrinkle into what they have in their offense. Just another option, another tool to go to like I said, without having to rely on completely giving it to Nikola Jokic every single time they come up the court. So that was great to see. Emmanuel Moody came out, had a really nice defensive effort, a great dish to Torrey Craig right off the hole, strong drive finish and one on Jeremy Lamb, and it didn't fall, surprisingly enough. When that kid is able to take contact, knows it's coming, and decides to finish strong, doesn't fall on the floor trying to get a call, he's so much more effective. He is the most effective, and I've said this from the beginning, when he's attacking and going to the hole, whether that be on him finishing strong, which he often doesn't do. He ends up flopping and falling on the floor, but he can finish strong, or he takes advantage of his strength and his large stature to make sure to hit his teammates cutting from the defense, lapsing and focusing on Emmanuel Mudiay into the paint, or kicking out to a wide open three. He needs to continue to push that. He's been contributing the last few games, and I thought that was excellent to see that last couple minutes when he came in and contribute nicely. The defensive effort picked up in the end of the first half as well. A lot of bodies flying around, a lot of high motion, people talking as well. So I thought that was good to see. That was about the only time where the defense really seemed to engage and click and to cause some issues for the Charlotte Hornets. In the second, Will turned into a lot of, like I said, the old super ISO, some poor defensive reads and stuff like that in this one. And that really led into like the entire second squad. That entire second unit really had a tale of two sides. There was good defensive effort, some decent offense in the beginning, but then shortly followed by a lot of empty possessions and turnovers leading on into about the midway of this quarter. It was, like I said, a tale of two sides to this team, which we've seen happen before. Charlotte bench was playing absolutely fire, outscored the Denver Nuggets 20-6 in that one, had the offense moving. Zeller came in and contributed in a big way. Dwight Howard continued to attack down low. I believe they had something like 12 layups, Hanslick said, in this time. So really taking advantage of points in the paint and caused some damage. You know, Charlotte was able to stick around for a large part of this game. Never really worried me in a way that I felt the offense was moving so well and that everything was clicking well. And there didn't seem to be a lot of lulling and struggling. But they definitely kept in this game at multiple times after a second night of a back-to-back. Impressive that they were able to come in here and really compete with this team and make some good runs on themselves to make it a closer competition than maybe some Nuggets fans would have liked. Jokic was struggling, picked up his third foul in this second. And something, a pattern that we see continue happening. Murray came alive in this quarter when everything became to start to momentum shifting again, where instead of the Nuggets leading and being on fire, the offense lulled, the defense was struggling. Charlotte caught its stride here. The pattern of Jamal Murray, the 20-year-old man-child of this squad, came alive again. And this wasn't the first time. We're going to reference it a little bit later in the podcast. He absolutely came alive. He had a crucial drive in with a nice finish, and then had an excellent three-point shot and ended with another three-point shot off of a missed shot attempt from, I believe, Garry Harris, who kicked it out, got the rebound, kicked it out to Jamal, hit a wide-open dagger. And that really, really, really late in that second quarter allowed the offense to kind of stop the bleeding and get back into the lead in this one going into the half. So Jamal Murray, once again, coming down in the clutch, somebody who I've said needs to be the first or second option at the end of late shot clocks, especially during crucial times in the game, just purely because of that quote-unquote Mamba mentality, shows up big again here in the second half, does it again some other times later on in the game. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit more. So from that first half, Nuggets came out firing, especially from the three. Garry Harris, Jamal Murray, and Will Barton all make sure to contribute from that three-point line, really busting out this team in the beginning. Really good ball movement, making a ton of extra passes, and really making sure to be dedicated to finding the absolute best, highest percentage shot, which can get this team into trouble sometimes, especially Nikola Jokic, because he's been known and been criticized for being a little overly passive. He's going to do that. It's part of his identity. It's fine when he's contributing in certain other ways. It doesn't matter. There needs to be times, and you saw that when the offense was kind of struggling, he went at Dwight Howard, got that and one on kind of a goofy make, but he still made it and kind of once again stopped the momentum of Charlotte, put a little damper in their step. Poor defense in that whole first half, with some exceptions from the start of the second quarter in that second unit. Dwight Howard bullied Jokic down low in that entire first half, got it going. I believe they had 10 or 12 points early in that first half. Make sure to make Jokic pay. Got 3 fouls in that first half. Thought it was going to be an issue. One thing I will say about Nikola Jokic and his fouls is his body language and his ability to recognize the negative impact that he has, not only on himself, but the team in general when he complains the way he does. So just from these young men who are supposed to be immature, mentally immature at this age, showing a lot of mental maturity, understanding, hey, I'm hurting the team by doing this. I'm not going to complain anymore. And he's been doing an excellent job. And I feel like some of the calls that he wasn't getting before, he's starting to pick up now every once in a while because he's not complaining, because the refs, they're starting to see this. Jokic, he's a very, very easy person to spot on the floor, not only because he's one of the best players on this team, but also because of his body language is so out of control sometimes when he would complain to the refs. So excellent job from Nikola Jokic here. Even though he was picked up his third foul, didn't do a lot of complaining or any complaining at all. So kudos to Nikola Jokic on that mental maturity to realize that and to make a change to better himself and this team. Nuggets relied on some hot shooting as well, some great ball movement to get them open and to get that offense flowing, and really had that working in the first quarter there. So some excellent things from the first quarter that really had this squad moving and rolling. In fact, Chris Dempsey threw out a fantastic stat tonight. 108 threes in the last 2 games, including the first half as well tonight. And so to see that kind of pick up, the 3-point shot started declining a little bit there for a second before these last 3 games especially. But to see that start to pick up again. And if you remember before this season, one of the critiques that the Nuggets had was their 3-point shooting shot. Got Jamal Murray. Garry Harris has taken an absolute step. Trey Lyles is shooting lights out. Emmanuel Mudiay has dramatically increased his 3-point percentage. So this whole team really clicking. Torrey Craig is able to hit from the 3. Nikola Jokic can hit a 3, although some of his shooting on the 3-point percentage is down for this year. So just some excellent shooting from this team from beyond the arc, and really helping out unlock and unleash a lot of what this team is all about, which is driving, cutting to the lane, shots inside, and high percentage shots. For the first half, Nuggets ended with 57% shooting from the field, 11 for 21 from the 3-point line, 17 assists, only 5 turnovers, which wasn't too horrible for this Nuggets squad, and 26 points in the paint, which was actually outdone by Charlotte with 36, which was largely contributed from Howard and Zeller working down on Jokic and the rest of the Nuggets squad down low. Nuggets found some success going back into being aggressive and hitting the outside shots, 60% in this quarter from the 3. Really had the ball moving again, started to get back to penetrating, being aggressive, and dedicating to making sure to make that extra pass. You saw some flashes in that third quarter again here. Charlotte as well started to cool off. Like I said earlier, second game of a back-to-back here. Garry Harris led the attack. Really starting to go at it, escaped a nice double team early in the quarter for a nice shot, and then proceeded to make Charlotte call a timeout, going coast to coast with a nice finish and an N1, moving the lead to 11 points here. Penetration and extra passes, as I stated earlier, really started kicking here midway into the quarter. That started to propel this team to regain that lead again here. Charlotte Hornets, kudos to them for able to stay in, like I was saying earlier as well. They never really got past 13, maybe 14 points. It fluctuated between 9 to 13 points that entire time. But Jokic here again. Jokic got aggressive here when the defense started to lull out. He was very passive and started to hesitate himself a couple times, which is not surprising to see, but frustrating nonetheless. But got engaged, started to take shots, started to hit those shots, and really started to change the momentum again. Another flurry from Jamal Murray late in this quarter to keep the Hornets at bay, 91-78. Jamal Murray, I will say it over and over again, the kid needs to have his ball in the hands late in the game when the shot clock is down. And it's not something that's even forced. His ability to find a way to attack and to make a defense pay with his plethora of moves is absolutely astonishing. Love this kid and the way this team's heading, led by Jamal Murray at the point. So far, it's just been a beautiful thing to watch develop. In the fourth, DEA, the old man, comes alive with the oop from Barton, had that cock back slam right on him. Really good to see him come in here. Tied his season high with 10 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound, 4 for 5 from the field. 2 for 3 from the 3-point, and ended with a neutral 0 for the night in just 13 minutes. So Darrell, once again, had that fantastic game when he got the start, came alive here as well, and contributed some great minutes. Just beautiful having a type of vets on this team. If you guys listen to the Road Tripping podcast, they talk about RJ and the crew talks about how important it is to have vets on this team to really show this team what it's like. And he does that. He stays ready, especially when you have people on this team like Malik Beasley, who's not getting a ton of minutes and maybe getting frustrated. He really is able to show him with a sense of maturity, not complaining. And Kenneth Faried too, largely. Big kudos to Kenneth Faried for not causing a big stir with not getting his minutes and collecting just a giant paycheck. That something needs to happen here. By the way, if you need to go check out some good articles on the trade deadline coming up, make sure to go to www.digindenver.com. Trade deadline articles. Make sure to head on over there and check them out. But just to see some great minutes from DA, the old man on the team, the vet, staying ready to contribute was really nice to see. E came again with some solid play. Emmanuel Mudiay, a good D, a strip on Zeller, and a nice shot on the other end for his 12th point of the night. On the night, Emmanuel Mudiay ended with 12 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 5 for 7 from the field, 100% from the 3-point line with 1 attempt. Ended with and only just 1 turnover, ending with a positive 4 in 18 minutes. So once again, strong play from Emmanuel Mudiay, continuing to contribute off the bench, and especially in that second unit as the leader of that second unit. Love the way he's playing when he's strong and attacking. Emmanuel Mudiay still continues to be one of those hopefuls for me that I hope can turn it around and really change it up. But kudos for him for doing what he has to do and contributing the way he's doing it. Torrey Craig in this fourth came out with a monstrous block on Zeller and just took a horrendous fall, just nasty. Emmanuel Mudiay immediately put his hands both on his head and then scrunched and told the medical team to come on over. Torrey Craig, that looked nasty on review, and after being able to review and seeing that Torrey, thank God, came down a little bit more on the meat of his shoulder blade as opposed to on the end of the shoulder. It was a nasty fall. He came out. Darrell Arthur and him went up for the block on Zeller. Darrell Arthur got under him a little bit, took his legs out, and I mean, Torrey Craig was up. Torrey Craig was in the air, contested that shot, got a little bit of arm, but he was well above Zeller on that play. Torrey Craig's bunnies and hops and athletic ability, not surprising to anybody, but thank God he's okay. Very, very scary crash there for a second. Got up just fine and seemed to recover well. In that same play, they actually called a flagrant foul on Darrell Arthur. Shaking my head. Good Lord. He literally was a push on the shoulder, got him that second one, and it was hilarious. Hastings was pretty fired up about it. Wouldn't be surprised to see that one overturned by the NBA tomorrow. Lyles came alive here. Came with a plethora of shots. Like I said, I really love this kid's game. His ability to spread the paint, to spread the floor, as well as to drive in, finish strong, and dunk hard on people. Love his ability to have some finesse as well as some power play on the night. Trey Lyles ended with 11 points, 1 assist, 7 rebounds, shot 4 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from the 3. Even had a block in there, ended with a -2 in 24 minutes. But I thought he really contributed well, especially late in the third and parts of the fourth as well. Hey, and then we saw Juancho. It was really nice to see Juancho come in a little bit pale looking on the floor from wearing too many suits on the sideline. It's been a throwaway year for Juancho, but I have no doubt that he's going to come in big for this Nuggets squad. He's a part of this building team here, and I really look forward to seeing him. It's been crappy, to be honest with you, seeing him on the bench. Just another player that has the ability to spread the floor, has potential to have a positive defensive rating for himself, but with sitting out a whole season, just really caught a tough break here. Can't wait to see Juancho back healthy, contributing to this team and getting some good minutes. So good to see him come in and play. At the end of the contest, Nuggets ended up 121-104. With just some great play, and it was good. This is a team who's under 500 for sure, not a fantastic team, but to see them build upon those last games, like I said, imagine if they won against the San Antonio Spurs. and the Golden State Warriors string together with this 3-game winning streak they have. This is just an exciting time to be a Nuggets fan and to be part of this culture. If you haven't jumped on the train, jump on it now. I'm telling you, it's just a heck of a time to be involved with this franchise. At the end of the night, 56% field goal shooting on 18 for 34 threes, 41 rebounds, 30 assists, lots of extra passes to be made here for some great shots, and 53 points in the paint. Ended up outscoring Charlotte, even though Zeller and Howard had their way down low at times, were able to make a difference down low. Like I said, free-flowing offense, man. It's been a beautiful thing to see. It's been a fun thing to be a part of. Have a great homestand here. If you can make it out to the Nuggets game, make it out. We're trying to send some more people this month, so make sure to go follow us at Dig in Denver. Follow me at Dig in Denver on Twitter for your chance to win some more tickets during this month. I promise we'll be giving at least one game, possibly two. If you're not following us, don't have a chance to win. Go on over to Instagram, follow us there for some great content. And as always, like I said, if you need some good Nuggets content, head on over to www.digindenver.com to check out everything we publish there. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you guys listening to me tonight. Make sure to go on over, leave a rating and review on iTunes. Like I said, go follow all the social media accounts. We appreciate you guys joining us. And as always, until the next game, let's dig in.
I know you're feeling it. Crystals are nice, I like the toes, I keep on spilling it. Bone crushers, I keep real close, I got the skill for this. On my back, the flyers closed, looking ill as shit. Transactions illegitimate, cause life is